Here's Brody Brazil.
I don't really know how to say this, but most of the videos I make here on YouTube are ultimately for you, the viewer, the subscriber. I'm trying to do things that are interesting to you and find spots where I can bring value to something that you are about to consume. So that makes this video just a little bit different because I'm actually, I think, doing this for me. This is kind of a time capsule situation. I'm in a rare point in life. I haven't done a live television show in a couple months. I've been unemployed during this span. And so I want to document the here and now because hopefully this doesn't last very long and this will be a bit of an abnormal time in my life. And I wanted to kind of go back and remember how things are here and now with a video that I can watch sometime down the line. And I've got a couple points to make here. They're just one sentence at a time. And the first is this. Obviously, to all of you who've been this way, I truly appreciate all the support, all the positive feedback, and all the confidence from everyone in every single way. And the one thing that gets me the most is when people say, oh, don't worry about it. You'll find something quick. This is not going to be long for you. We know you're going to move on to something better. And whether they fully know that or believe that or not, or if they're just saying it to be nice, it doesn't matter because it comes across in such a kind fashion. I do appreciate all the people who say they miss the stuff I was doing for a certain period of time. I was so lucky to do my roles for 15, 16 years. And so I got really accustomed to them and people got used to seeing me in certain places. And I just really appreciate all of the above. It's meant more than you know. And there have been some hard moments of thoughts, of realizations, of decisions, of frustration, and all of these kind things. They absolutely get me through most of the uncertainty. And a lot of times I find myself daydreaming lately into things I'd normally be doing right now. Oh, it's 3:45. I'd be in the car, headed to San Francisco, going into the studio for a baseball game tonight or a hockey game tonight. And so now that I've kind of been off the track of going into work and having that regular routine job that I had for so long, my mind a lot of times goes into this alternate place in reality of what things would normally be like. My brain and my schedule were very much trained to do the same thing during baseball season and then during hockey season and then back to baseball season year after year after year. So it's kind of a weird thing that sometimes I will like daydream and stop whatever I'm doing to be like, wait, this is not normally where I'm at 4:57 p.m. Or, it's 6:25. I'd normally be 5 minutes away from starting a live show, but instead I'm sitting down at home doing something with my son or eating dinner or you name it. So that's definitely been an interesting part of this that maybe I didn't expect. I also do come to realize now that the last couple years were hard miles for yours truly. And it wasn't specifically the work of doing shows and all the normal routine things. It was covering a baseball team like the A's at the end of its journey in Oakland. That was heavy. That consumed me a lot more than I actually realized when I was going through it. Because we couldn't talk about the games and stats. I mean, we did, but in the back of my mind, all of the bigger implications always existed and all the different things going on and personalities involved. It was just a very complex web of things going on. And quite honestly, nobody in my business really has to deal with something like this. Pro sports teams don't relocate that often. So there really was no playbook and there was no, hey, do this and you'll be fine type situation. It was all hard to figure out, but it was all stressful and emotional. And I mean, even the final week of covering those A's games, I mean, it just took a lot out of me that I was ready for, and it was what I wanted to do and be loyal and see something all the way through till the end. But wow, I didn't realize how much it consumed me. And as I think about things that I might want to do in the future, how much more pleasant they'll be than covering essentially the death of a baseball team in its town and also kind of the death of a professional sports fan base that I was very much ingrained in. On the flip side, like I said before, with my schedule being different and not going in to do shows, and I'm doing a lot here on YouTube and I've done some radio, but I've also kind of been enjoying what weekends are like and also being in sync with everybody else. And one thing about my job, which, if I'm able to stay in sports, it's a lot of nights, a lot of weekends, but that's what I've normally always done. However, kind of seeing it here and now where I'm home on a given weekend. And I got to play in a tennis tournament recently, and I get to go to the park with my son, and I get to do some things and see some people that for so many years that are my friends, and I can stay friends with them no matter what. But now I'm actually getting to hang out a little bit because, well, I have free time, but because I'm a little bit more in sync with the Monday through Friday crowd. Now, again, that's not necessarily me or who I've ever been. I've always been on that nighttime weekend schedule. I'm very used to it. It probably feels more comfortable. But as I get used to this a little bit, and as I try and let myself relax a little bit, yeah, I've really been enjoying what being in sync with everybody else is all about. But herein lies the problem. I'm not good at sitting idle. And by that, I mean, I'm in here making a bunch of YouTube videos. I'm thinking about what's next. I'm trying to work on what's next. A lot of people might say, hey, take a full month and do nothing. Just enjoy it. You just put in 16 years. You were around the clock, season to season. You never had an off season for literally 16 years, maybe minus a couple months for the pandemic. But I've never been good at trying to do nothing, or I've never really been able to sit back and do nothing. I'm realizing that I'm terrible at this, sitting idle. And there might be a time 6 months from now, a year from now, when I'm super busy in whatever's next, and I'll look back and say, I should have chilled harder. In fact, I do remember thinking that way about 2020 and a lot of the months where people were working from home or there wasn't sports, and so we could kind of sit and reflect a little bit more. But even then, I was the same way. I could never sit idle. I did a ton of work here in this home studio because I just needed something to do. And that's kind of no surprise to me about myself. It's in my DNA, but it's definitely being realized now. I also do love so much, by the way, about the creative experience of growing this very YouTube channel. And I would say that if it wasn't growing as fast as it is, maybe I would love it less, but it is growing so quickly. I'm seeing the results. I'm finding the topics and the content and the audience and things are going in the right direction. But I also love, again, the creative aspect where I can come in here in the home studio, hit record, push some buttons, make a story, tell a story, share a story here on YouTube. And there's enough people to watch and witness it that it's worth my time to actually do it. It's never been about a subscriber count for me. It's never been about how many views this or that gets. I just like growth. And I'm seeing growth right now over time. And if I look at the last year, 2024 alone, I think this channel is about to hit 10 million views in this year. This channel is also about to double how many subscribers it started with. I think it was 20-something thousand, 25,000. It's probably going to be close to 60,000 by the end of this calendar year. So I'm loving the experience of growing this YouTube channel. Some people say, well, you should make this your thing. It's not there yet. I think I need to be double where I'm even at now to ever consider it being a full-time thing, and I'd probably have to take on a sponsor. By the way, if you're somebody out there who is interested in partnering or sponsoring this YouTube channel, I'm starting to consider that. And I think I've got a spot for you right up here. I don't like seeing my name up there. By the way, that's still a Twitter logo. Haven't changed it to X or anything else. But I think I'm at that point where I could offer enough value to a sponsor who wanted their name and product, and it would have to be something I'm also in sync with, in line with, something I'd be happy to promote here on this channel. And I don't know that I want 10 different sponsors, but maybe if there is one, if there is somebody, we could do that. We could do something else on the screen. I think I'm up for it. But the bottom line is there's growth. There's a bunch of creativity here on YouTube, and I am loving this experience. And I also really appreciate KNBR for giving me plenty of shots recently to dabble in radio. Now, I should sidestep for a second because recently we know what happened at KNBR. Big change in business. They had to lay off a lot of their regulars and a lot of their most popular hosts, and I feel terrible about that. I know the situation. I'm making a video about myself kind of being in a similar situation as a lot of my colleagues are in and just found themselves in right now, and especially before the holidays and mid-football season of a 49ers year where maybe there is something special. It just, it hits in all sorts of ways. The point I wanted to make was I appreciate the fact that as soon as I announced that I didn't have anything going on for a while, they jumped in and said, we'd love to take you in. We'd love to give you some shots and do your thing and stay fresh and join us for a bit. So I know people have asked me, is this what I'm doing permanently? And the answer is no. I mean, as far as I understand it right now, no. I mean, and that was never the intent. I just wanted to go on there, get some reps, share some of my sports takes and opinions, and I really enjoyed the experience. And I'm hoping in the long term of whatever happens for me, that this will continue to be that, part-time here and there type option. I appreciate them for giving me instant shots. And the last thing I wanted to point out here was that, I said before that I'm not good at sitting idle. The one thing I do realize is that my brain never stops thinking about exactly what I should do. Topics, videos, stories, interviews, questions for an interview, people to interview. The creative fire in me, it burns so strong. I can't extinguish that flame. And I miss doing the work. I don't know that I miss every single part of what I was doing for the last 16 years. The preparation, not necessarily all the time, or I did it. I mean, I always did it. A lot of the small office type business things that I do not miss. But actually doing the work, doing the shows, I guess preparing for the shows, debriefing from the shows, actually doing the work. Yeah, I 100% miss it. And quite honestly, that's what leads me to believe that in all the different avenues I could choose and try and go down for what's next, I should probably try and keep the ship pointed in a similar direction for now before I start steering it around 360 degrees. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. Maybe I'm watching this in 5-10 years and I'll remember this time and be like, oh, remember when I only had a few grays? But instead, it's more about sharing this moment, sharing this time, which is interesting, which is rare for me, which I haven't found myself in, fortunately, in a bit of time. And so I don't know how long it's going to last, but I just wanted to document it here and now and kind of pull back the curtain a little bit so all of you could hear it as well too. Thank you for making it all the way to the end of this one. Thumbs up down below. That'll greatly help me in this video and this channel. And also don't forget, before this video ends, make sure that you've hit that subscribe button down below too. That way I definitely get to see you back here next time.